From Kern Government Television, welcome to this week's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting, originating from the County Administrative Center located at 1115 Truxtun Avenue, Bakersfield, California. Kern County's vision is to create and maintain a customer-centered county government designed to garner the confidence, support, and trust of the people we serve. Today's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting will convene momentarily.
Board to reconvene. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Supervisor Peters.
Here.
Supervisor Scrivener.
Here.
Supervisor Maggard.
Here.
Supervisor Couch.
Here.
Supervisor Perez.
Thank you. Good morning and welcome to the Tuesday.
Zach, I'm here.
Oh, sorry, excuse
Thanks.
me. Good morning and welcome to the Tuesday, April 5th, 2022, 9 a.m. meeting of the Board of Supervisors. In lieu of our customary salute to the flag this morning, we are honored to have the California Cadet Corps Color Guard from Rosamond High School who will present the colors, and then Cadet Ruth Incestrosa will sing the national anthem. Sorry if I messed up your name, Ruth. I apologize. Once the colors are retired, please remain standing for a moment of prayer, silence, or meditation, whichever you prefer.
Forward, march, left, 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 right, left, calm left, march. Color guard, halt. Left, face. Freeze and colors.
Oh, see, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streamed, and the rockets recollect the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the hope of the brave.
Order, colors. Right, face. Forward, march, calm left, march. Left, 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 right, left, 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 right, right.
Thank you. Please be seated. And we are going to hear a little bit more from the California Cadet Corps from Rosamond during board member announcements or reports. But at this time, I'm going to call on Nick Cullen, our Director of Animal Services, to introduce our Pet of the Week. Come on out, Nick. Good morning, Nick. Who do we have today?
Good morning. That is some act to follow. This is Gabriel. Gabriel is our pet of the week. He is about a 6-year-old terrier mix. He's a little guy, obviously, you could see. He's only about 8 pounds. He's not going to get much bigger than that. He is scared this morning. He's a return visitor to the Kern County Animal Shelter. He was with us about 6 years ago, and he was returned, and he's available for adoption. Now he's already neutered, ready to go to his new home, and he's a super loving dog.
All right. Well, Gabriel, best of luck to you, and hope somebody adopts you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nick. Appreciate it. All right. We'll begin by considering the consent agenda. Agendas are located on the tables near the doors for anyone who wishes to follow along. All items listed with a CA above the item are considered to be routine and non-controversial by county staff. Consent items will be considered first and may be approved by one motion. If a member of the audience wishes to comment or ask questions regarding an item on the consent agenda, they may do so prior to a vote being taken. A member of the board may remove any item from the consent agenda and will be considered in listed sequence with an opportunity for any member of the public to address the board concerning the item before action is taken. A member of the public may also comment on any closed session item. So I am going to read the consent agenda now. So starting on page 2, we have items 1 and 2 on consent, as well as 7 and 10. And on page 3, we have item 11, as well as 13 through 17 on consent. Page 4, items 18 through 25 are on consent. Page 5, items 26 through 32 on consent. On page 6, items 33 through 41 are on consent. And finally, on page 7, items 42 through 44 are all on consent. And so now I'll ask if there's any members of the public that would like to make any comment on our consent agenda items. Okay, seeing none, I'll return to the board. Supervisor Couch.
We received a lot of correspondence regarding item 12, I think it was. Correct?
And that is off consent.
I'm sorry, thank you.
Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda
So moved.
items? And, excuse me, I need to recuse myself on an item. Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'm looking for my form, which I don't seem to have up here. I need to recuse myself on item number 37. My wife used to work for the Adventist Health Hospital System, and item 37 is a agreement with Adventist Health Delano. So I will abstain from that item, but I will record my vote on the rest of the items on the consent agenda.
I second the motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Thank you. So that will take us back to page 2 of our agenda, item number 3. This is to proclaim April 5th, 2022 as Children of the American Revolution Day of Service in Kern County, and Supervisor Peters will make this presentation.
Thank you, Chairman Scrivener. I would like to make a motion to approve item 3.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Chairman Scrivener, members of the board, I'm honored today to present our item number 3, which is honoring the National Society for Children of the American Revolution's Day of Service in Kern County. This organization was founded April 5th, 1895, and they're focused on patriotism, service, and education about our American heritage, which I think is as important today as it's ever been. Locally, the Betsy Ross Society is helping youth in our community through the Kids Helping Kids program. They've been engaged in various different local activities, including Veterans Day parades, and they've done community cleanups, and they also had a book drive for the Little Free Library at the Kern County Family Justice Center. And so with that being said, I would like to acknowledge the Children of the American Revolution with this proclamation. The Board of Supervisors of the County of Kern, State of California, has officially proclaimed April 5th, 2022 as Children of the American Revolution Day of Service in Kern County. And this recognition has been entered into the official board minutes and signed by our Honorable Chairman, Zach Scrivener.
Share a few words.
Good morning, Chairman Scrivener and members of the board. My name is Sophia Kaufman, President of the Betsy Ross Society, Children of the American Revolution, and I am joined by Alexandra Bowles, Vice President. I'd like to tell you about the Children of the American Revolution. The National Society of the Children of the American Revolution was founded on April 5th, 1895, by Harriet Mulford Lothrop, with the purpose of instilling patriotic values in the youth of America. The National Society, CAR, is the oldest patriotic youth organization in our country. Our headquarters is located at 1776 D Street in Washington, D.C. Membership is open to any boy or girl under the age of 22. Members must prove that they are a lineal descendant from a man or woman who, with unfailing loyalty, rendered material aid or fought for the cause of American independence as a recognized patriot in any of the colonies of the United States. Members gain valuable leadership experience in conducting meetings, following parliamentary procedures and standard protocol, serving as delegates, and speaking before groups at local, state, and national conferences. The responsibility and privilege of selecting officers helps members gain an understanding of the democratic process. Locally, the Betsy Ross Society has 53 members and participates in various activities that help veterans, children, and our community. Last year, we held a book drive and created a little free library inside the Kern County Family Justice Center to help children facing traumatic situations. We collected over 14,000 buttons that were donated to the Jewish Community Center to create the Central Valley's first Holocaust memorial. We continue to find ways to make our community a better place. To celebrate our CAR Day of Service, members will be volunteering their time at the Bakersfield Homeless Center. Of course, we couldn't do any of this without the help of our senior leaders. Thank you for declaring April 5th, 2022 as CAR Day of Service in Kern County.
Chair.
Supervisor Perez.
Thank you, Chair. I understand these are the daughters of our own county family. I won't identify them openly, but I understand they're part of the county family, and I see big smiles here, rightfully so. How wonderful to see you so engaged. It is delightful. Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you, Supervisor. Next item is number 4. This is to proclaim April 23rd, 2022 as Scottish Gathering and Games Day in Kern County, and Supervisor Couch will make this presentation.
Motion on the proclamation.
Second.
Motion second, please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Yes, chieftain president. Yeah, it's just chieftain.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. It's my honor today to present this to Bruce Marshall. Bruce is the chieftain of the Kern County Scottish Society. You're the big cheese.
That's
of
it.
the Kern County Scottish Society. Okay. If you've never been to this event, it's a lot of fun. And the Kern County Scottish Society just does this. I think you do this every year, don't you? Probably missed a couple of years, but they're just keeping alive their heritage through a very fun event with a lot of games. And so if you've never gone, I really encourage you to do it. It's April the 23rd. Coincidentally, that's the day, and I'll read this, that we are proclaiming, we, the Board of Supervisors of the County of Kern, State of California, are officially proclaiming April 23rd, 2022 as Scottish Gathering and Games Day in Kern County. And this day has been entered into the official board minutes, also signed by our Honorable Chair, Zach Scrivener. It's dated today. So, Bruce, I'll give you a chance to tell us all about, I didn't do that justice. You can tell us a whole lot more about what you've got going on that day.
Okay.
And encourage us to get out there.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you, Supervisor Couch and the rest of the board for the proclamation. Like I said, my name's Bruce Marshall. I'm the chieftain of the Scottish Society. And Scottish Society is excited to be back at the fairgrounds April 23rd and 24th for our 25th Scottish Games and Gatherings. We'll have Celtic bands performing, pipe bands, heavy athletics, vendors, solo piping competition, and we're just very happy to be back and able to present our event to the people of Kern County and display our Scottish culture and heritage. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next is item 5, proclaim April 2022 as Autism Awareness Month in Kern County, and Supervisor Maggard will make this presentation.
Motion to approve. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I'm going to give Supervisor Couch a moment to get up here so he can vote. And Supervisor Perez.
Who are we presenting?
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Who among you do I actually give? What is your? Come on. Good morning, colleagues. I am joined this morning by Ramona Puget, who is the director of the Kern Autism Network, and she has several people she'll introduce to us. You mind standing right here, and I'll read this to you. Autism affects 1 in 44 people. It is a respecter not of economic status, of race, or of ethnic background. It affects all people throughout our culture. Although I think it's 4 times as more prevalent among boys as it is girls, which is interesting. It presents challenges, but we have wonderful people who are trying to help families with those challenges. And I would like to present this proclamation then by the Board of Supervisors of the County of Kern, State of California, has officially proclaimed April 2022 as Autism Awareness Month in Kern County, as entered into our minutes with the signature of our board chairman, the Honorable Zach Scrivener, on this, the 5th day of April 2022. Could you, Ramona, tell us a little bit more about what's going to happen during the month of April?
Absolutely. Thank you. Good morning. Thank you, Mike Maggard and City Council, for allowing us to be here today to acknowledge April as Autism Awareness Month. Each and every year, we try to do something different to help our community and our families to bring awareness and appreciation and acceptance for autism within the community. In Kern County alone, there's over 2,000 plus cases. That's not including what is going through the Kern County mental health. We're seeing numbers increase more and more, and if it's anything, and we have some individuals here today that are on the spectrum. We kind of have a group. We have our board of directors, we have our volunteers, we have our young, and we have our adults here on the spectrum as well too, joining us all here today to acknowledge this. But we appreciate that the council has recognized autism is every day in our families. It's 24/7. It's a lot of work. Being a mother of 2 sons with autism, it's difficult. Many of our families have more than 1 child. We do have a couple of families that have up to 4 children with autism in the family. Our goal as an organization is to be that link to them to provide services through the journey of coping and working with therapies and different school districts and the community at large to better understanding autism. So the organization has been in Kern County for over 25 years. We've been expanding each and every year. It gets bigger and bigger. And we are more than happy to help our families by providing those supports and services that they they need. This past Saturday, we just had our second annual car parade, and our first annual Family Autism Barbecue was very well attended. It was sold out. We had it at Beach Park in the baseball diamond area, and it was just amazing. The pictures are all posted on our Facebook page. Jeff Flores contributed to help us in making it happen, along with other businesses here in Kern County that helped. CHP led the parade, which was wonderful. Hall Ambulance, Bakersfield Police Department, the Sheriff Department, everybody, the whole community came out to help and support and bring awareness. So again, we thank you for allowing us to be acknowledged today for April Autism Awareness Month. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions about the organization or just what we do in general. Thank you.
Thank you.
Come on, Michelle. Come on. It's okay. It's all right.
Good morning.
You're okay.
Hi, Dominic.
Come on, honey. You're okay. That's all right.
Good morning, everybody. Good to be with you guys this morning. Thank you. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda will be item number 6, and this is to proclaim April 2022 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Kern County, and Supervisor Perez will make this presentation.
Thank you, Chair. Motion on item number 6, proclamation.
Second.
Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Hello, everybody. Nice to see you all. Quite a showing here. Lito, you come mobbing in here. I like that. That's a show of strength. I like that very much. Good morning, Chairman and members of the board. It is with a heavy heart that I present to you the proclamation for April 2022 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Kern County. To my chairman and fellow supervisors, our Department of Human Services is committed, as you know, year-round to keeping Kern County children and families safe and protected. Each April, we are given the opportunity to highlight and bring awareness to the issue of child abuse here in Kern County and in ways in which we can prevent it and mitigate its impacts. I would like to commend the Department of Human Services for bringing this proclamation forward and bringing attention to the importance of this issue. I would also like to recognize the many organizations, as you see presented here today, in solidarity with DHS, such as Kern County Network for Children, CASA, First Five Kern, our sheriff, Donnie Youngblood, and other agencies and community volunteers for the role they play in the role they play in working together and putting an end to child abuse, mitigating its impacts through love. Thank you for all of your tireless work in ensuring that our children remain safe and thrive and feel loved by at least one person. It's with great honor that I present to you this proclamation. Board of Supervisors, County of Kern, State of California has officially proclaimed April 2022 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Kern County has been recognized and entered into the official board minutes signed by our Honorable Chair, Zach Scribner. The floor is yours, Lito.
Thank you, Supervisor Perez. Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. I appreciate the opportunity to come before you to present this opportunity of awareness regarding child abuse prevention. As you know, child abuse is one of those things that is tragic in our society, and this allows for us the opportunity to create awareness on the situation. I'm honored and privileged to be surrounded by an exceptional team that's joined us today who play an active role. And I know Supervisor Perez touched on a few members altogether, but I want to make sure they're all identified accordingly. Sheriff Donnie Youngblood from the Kern County Sheriff's Department, Andrea Kohler from the District Attorney's Office, Tom Corson, Executive Director of Kern County Network for Children, Chief Aaron Duncan, Kern County Fire, Stacy Kuwahara, Director of Behavioral Health Services, Roland Meyer, Executive Director of First Five, Amy Travis of CASA, Cindy Hughes, Human Services Chief Deputy Director, Maria Bermudez, Assistant Director. And I know I have some Child Protective Services staff and management staff and staff at DHS. Can you all stand in the back? They're joined with us today as well. I also want to take this opportunity to thank the thousands upon thousands of social workers and staff that we have at Human Services that day in and day out work as hard as they do, as tirelessly as they do to make sure our children are safe and protected in this community.
And loved.
Absolutely. I recall a study that was handed to me a few years back, and it was called the ACE study. ACE to be exact, and that stood for Adverse Childhood Experiences. And the study was done by Kaiser and CDC. It was a joint effort to look at health outcomes. Anyway, what they found and identified was individuals that had childhood traumatic experiences ranging from physical, emotional, sexual abuse or neglect, growing up in a household that had drug abuse or alcohol issues from one of the household members, living with a family member with mental illness, experience with incarceration of a family member, parental separation, divorce, domestic violence, or a loss of a parent. All had effects on the health outcomes as they got older. The higher the number, the exposures to these childhood experiences, the worse the health outcomes became. As an example, if you had 4 or more of these experiences, you had a higher rate of depression, 12 times more likely to attempt suicide. If you had 7 or more of these adverse experiences, you were 30 times more likely to commit suicide. And I had a lifetime risk of lung cancer and 3.5 times the risk of heart disease, which we all know is a leading cause of death. I share that with you because as tragic as child abuse is, it has lifelong implications. Exposure to early adversity affects the developing brains and bodies of children. It's also proven that it affects children's immune and health. Which brings me back to the amazing partners that joined us today and the amazing social workers we have working at DHS, who represent a collaboration of individuals and organizations fully committed to improving the lives of children and strengthening families in our community. It's absolutely a team effort and requires multiple disciplines, offering multiple programs and an array of services. Those services include access to childcare, access to affordable health care and health services, parenting education resources, assistance with employment services, access to substance abuse and behavioral health problems or programs. As we continue to focus on child abuse prevention, we want the community to know that we're here and we need their help. If you suspect child abuse, please report it by calling 661-631-6011. It's critical that grandparents, aunts, uncles, neighbors, church family, and everyone pay close attention as it relates to concerns or changes in the household where children are involved. And those changes or concerns could range from alcohol or drug use, stress, job loss, isolation, anger, mental health issues, and personality changes. If you suspect something's going on, give us an opportunity by just giving us a call and reporting it to Child Protective Services. During the month of April, we'll join a whole host of agencies across the nation bringing awareness to this topic of child abuse prevention. I want to thank you for this proclamation and thank you for your time. I'd like to turn it over to Maria Bermudez, who's the Assistant Director over Child Protective Services, who's going to go over a few of our activities.
Stand, please. Well done. Thank you. Well done.
Good morning, Chairman Scrivener and members of the board, and thank you for this proclamation. Lito did a wonderful job explaining how important it is and how we rely on our partners in the community to combat child abuse. I will go ahead and just talk about a few things we have going on in the community. We will be offering a free training called Recognizing the Signs of Child Abuse and Neglect that will be held virtually and is open to everyone in the community. If anyone would like to attend, all you need to do is go to our website at www.kcdhs.org and you can receive more information. Also, the Kern County Network for Children is offering a training called Reimagining Our Community, Equity, and Community Voice as the Foundation. It will be held on April 21st and also will be held virtually. This training will be offered to help the community or to bring awareness of child abuse and how you as how members of the community can become involved. For more information, the community may contact Kern County Network for Children at 661-636-4488. Also, in honor of Child Abuse Prevention Month, we are also inviting our faith-based community partners to participate in Blue Sunday, which is held on April 24th, 2022. A day designated nationally to pray for and remember the victims of child abuse, and also to pray for those who work to rescue them. Please visit bluesunday.org for more information. We care deeply about the children in our community, and today we thank you for standing together with us to protect all the children and their lives. Thank you.
You're here. Well done. Lito, that was excellent. Are we going to do a picture? That was excellent. We're going to do a picture, everybody? Come on, let's gather around. Andrea, this way, the camera's there, but we can just kind of situate ourselves this way. Come on. Donnie, you're going to come in? Tom? Chief Duncan? Let me see the proclamation all around. I'll open it here. You look like you're aging backwards. Something, you must be doing something. Are these your people? Andrew, where's Andrea? Are these your people? Because I sent you the pictures. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Supervisor. Okay, next is public presentations. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons to address the board on any matter not on this agenda, but under the jurisdiction of the board. Board members may respond briefly to statements made or questions posed. They may ask a question for clarification, make a referral to staff for factual information, or request staff to report back to the board at a later meeting. Also, the board may take action to direct staff to place a matter of business on a future agenda. So now I'll ask if there are any members of the public that would like to make a presentation. We ask you to state your name and please observe our 2-minute time limit. Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman Scribner and distinguished board members. My name is Vince Mayocco, spelled M-A-I-O-C-C-O. I have spoken to the Board of Supervisors 3 previous times about election integrity and my concerns about the Kern County Auditor, Controller, County Clerk position. I, along with a host of other people, have repeatedly made the case that the Board of Supervisors and the current structure of the Auditor, Controller, County Clerk position must be changed. There is no current oversight of this position other than the election for this position every 4 years. The head of this elected position answers to no one, including the Board of Supervisors. A recent development has cast another black eye onto this position and Mary Bedard. It's common knowledge that one of Ms. Bedard's understudies has filed to become a candidate for the June primary election for the Auditor, Controller, County Clerk position. Another candidate who has been an outspoken critic of Ms. Bedard and her department has also filed to become a candidate. However, this individual was informed several weeks ago that he did not meet the criteria to become a candidate by none other than Ms. Bedard. Fortunately, this candidate had the wherewithal to fight Ms. Bedard's decision in court, which cost him a considerable amount of his own money. Last Wednesday, a Superior Court judge quickly ruled on his behalf, and he will be on the June primary ballot to run against Ms. Bedard's hand-selected candidate. How does one person that heads up the Auditor, Controller, County Clerk position also determine who becomes or doesn't become an official candidate for this position? Ms. Bedard gets to decide who runs against her or chooses her hand-picked successor. This sounds like the definition of a conflict of interest. After Ms. Bedard assumed her current position in 2012, she ran unopposed in 2014 and 2018 elections. I'm curious, did she run unopposed because no one filed the paperwork to become a candidate? Or did she choose to not qualify those candidates like she did this candidate in 2022? Another interesting sidebar is that her hand-chosen 2022 candidate might not meet the minimum qualifications for this position. She's only worked in that office for 2.5 years, and the minimum work experience is 3 years at a minimum. With all this testimony regarding election integrity over the last several months, I am obviously very concerned about this position, and more reason why we need to split up the auditor, controller, county clerk position. Once again, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Let me next, please. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Noelle Button. So I was really happy to actually hear that April was Abuse Awareness Month, and I actually asked my husband, I was like, can you look up the definition of abuse? And it's to treat a person or an animal with cruelty or violence, especially regularly or repeatedly. And it's not just in the homes, but it's in our schools too. I think it's abuse and cruel to sit there and manipulate the children. You know, there's a lot of damage that has been done in the schools, and I would just appreciate if the Board of Supervisors can bring more attention to that. These kids, they were masked up for 2 years, they were isolated for 2 years, and quite frankly, some of them were probably sent home and quarantined with their abusers. And this was all done in the schools. And which kind of brings me to my next point, which is number 31. KCSOS wants to do contract tracing, $1.2 million to renew the contract, it seems like. I think that $1.2 million can be better spent for the schools, for the education, for the staff. I don't think we need any more contract tracing, especially $1.2 million. And and for item number 12 on the agenda, I would ask that you guys do your research. This year is election year. We want our voices to be heard. We don't want discrepancies. We don't want errors. We want our voices to be heard. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Jim Robinson, and I thank all the Board of Supervisors for having this open so that we can all go ahead and speak our minds. I do want to go ahead and preface a brief written statement with a question. How were votes tabulated here in Kern County prior to the Dominion voting system?
If you'd like to speak on the Dominion item, sir, that will be item number 12. These are for items that are not on the agenda. And so if you do have comments that are related to items not on the agenda, please address those. Otherwise, if you could wait until item 12 comes up on the agenda.
Happy to. Sorry.
Thank you so much. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Mary Bedard, Registrar of Voters. I just want to address some of the remarks that were stated by the first speaker regarding the qualifications for the position of Auditor Controller. There are many, in fact, most elected offices don't have specific qualifications other than to be a registered voter. The position of Auditor Controller in both state government code and in the county ordinance does have requirements that you be essentially an accountant. There are several pathways. You can be, if you are a CPA, you automatically qualify. If you have a certificate from the Institute of Internal Auditors, you automatically qualify as long as you meet the specific requirements. If you are a management position or have served in a management position in the Auditor Controller's office for a period of 3 years, you will qualify. And the fourth way is to have a baccalaureate degree with a major in accounting or its equivalent, as well as 3 years of fiscal management experience. So the issue as far as me not qualifying, one of the candidates who filed, is that he does not have a major in accounting. And in my opinion, he does not have the equivalent of a major in accounting. Generally, accounting major is extremely standard across the country because it needs to have meet the qualifications to become a CPA. So there are standard requirements, generally including 24 semester units of accounting courses. The candidate did not meet that requirement, and in my opinion, did not qualify. The other candidate did qualify because she has 2.5 years of management experience in my office, as well as additional years of fiscal management experience in another county department. So just the process of going to court to challenge my determination, that is the standard process. That is open to any candidate who disagrees with the determinations of my office, and that is what the other candidate did. And the court did rule for me to place him on the ballot, and so that is what I did. So I think it was only fair to the people of Kern County for me to indicate, in my opinion, that the one candidate does not meet the qualifications for the position of auditor controller.
Thank you, Ms. Bedard. Do we have any other public speakers, please?
I would like to address.
Good morning.
Jess Sanders. I would like to address what she just said. I noticed that she pointed out that in most offices, there was a certain agenda. Most offices are not, the incumbent is not allowed to say, you can't run against me, because the other thing I noticed she didn't point out was, in the qualifications, was integrity. There was no integrity with that. I watched some of the stuff that goes on down there personally as a citizen, and the people's rights to witness things going on were made very uncomfortable. Either asked to stand the whole time, the seats were removed, asked to move out to where they couldn't see the thing, what they were supposed to be looking at. So we fought for monitors, and when there was too much contest going on with that, the monitors disappeared. So integrity needs to be a part of this. Just letting you know that it's a big thing when the vote, the outcome of the vote weighs in more than the integrity of the vote.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. I'm going to ask the audience, I know we do the applause during the presentations, but as people are giving testimony, just so everybody feels like it's a fair environment, if you could please refrain from applause. Thank you. No, it's actually not in this chamber. Thank you. We applaud during our presentations, but when people are giving testimony, I ask that you don't. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Flor Hall. I also want to address on what Mrs. Bedard said. I do know the candidate personally, and he is an awesome Christian man. By the way, he has an MBA, which he actually has more of an education that Mrs. Bedard has, I believe, and he's more than qualified, so I just want to share on the integrity of this man. And I think it was bias on what was said, and I don't think somebody that is in that position should be able to choose who runs against them and who doesn't. I was in the elections office monitoring the polls. It was my very first time. I have never been involved, and it was horrible, disgusting, and we were treated like animals. We were herded in a little area this way. We were not allowed to talk to each other. We were not allowed to even text our family. We were not allowed to whisper in each other's ears. We were from here to where this lady was to be able to monitor anything that was going on. They turned off the monitors. She did not count the votes till almost 11 o'clock that night. My vote, personally, I headed the recall of Gavin Newsom. I don't know if you knew that, but a Latina woman was the one who ran that. So it wasn't a bunch of whatever they were calling us. It was a Hispanic woman. I'm a legal immigrant in the United States who loves America. We came here for a better life. We're pastors, we're ministers, we're in the community. And the way we were treated in that place by some of the staff and Mrs. Bedard was horrible. We were yelled at, we were looked at, and we were just there to look at what was going on. I wanted to see what was going on. I wanted to see. My vote was not counted for 2 months. 2 months, and I was ahead of the recall. So that to me shows that there's discrepancies. We need somebody in there with integrity. I don't care if you have a D or an R. I want to know that my vote is counted. I want to know that there's integrity in that place. And I want our citizens, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, to be treated with integrity and to be treated, you know, we're volunteering to go help. And there needs to be an oversight in that department, and somebody needs to be stepped in to oversight, because I'm really disappointed in what went on in that office.
Thank you, Ms. Hall. Next speaker, please. Good morning.
Hi, Paul Infesti, District 3. I want to say that I was a little, I sometimes think when people use the word integrity that there's an objective set of standards of what integrity actually is, but it's actually in the eye of the beholder. Some people will think it means something else, and it's very hard to put that into a job description. It's something you can take an oath at when you're sworn into office, perhaps. I don't know if I've ever heard that term before in that context. But now I have actually been an observer before Mary Bedard took office, and I can tell you it's not a place where you go and you talk to each other, and because it can be distracting. It's a process that needs to be very thorough. People have to concentrate on their jobs in getting the job done. There's nothing unusual about votes not counted. I've worked in politics, in partisan politics for decades here in this town. This is a conservative county. I get it. I don't start thinking there's something wrong because my side loses. As a matter of fact, we've already seen the election, the official election results on the night of the recall. It does take a long time for ballots to come in, especially for all of those mail-in ballots, which is now the popular way for many people. I was against it too. I was forced into district once to vote absentee ballot, and I thought there was something wrong. I didn't sign up for that. And I found out there are certain precincts in town where you have to do that if it's below a certain amount of voters. So I just want to say that we need to keep an open mind, especially since the official election results showed in the recall that the recall went through in Kern County by over 50,000 votes more than who voted against the recall. So that sounds like about right what you would expect in this county. So I certainly would have no reason to challenge those results. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Good morning.
Good morning, board members. I am again before you asking you to implement the no vaccine passport resolution. I have submitted it to you several times.
Could you state your name, ma'am, please?
I'm sorry, it's Mary Little. I have submitted it to you previously for approval. I have been before this board several times and asked for appointments with all of you. So far, none of you have responded. I did receive one response from Supervisor Magnard, which I appreciated. Zach Schreibner, your aide, called me one time and I asked for an appointment. He didn't say that he would give me one. He said that you did not support the vaccine passport resolution because we don't need it at this time, which is not true. I recently attended the Kern High School Career Expo as a school board member, and in some of those programs, the students had to be jabbed and also receive their booster shot. That's discrimination, and we're subjecting our youth to very harmful, potentially deadly, poisonous ingredients that are known to cause many, many problems. My heart cried out for these children for forcing them to get jabbed for no reason. I'm also a legal Social Security advocate, and I had a potential client called me last week and asked me if I could come to the hospital to get papers signed. I couldn't go in because I'm not jabbed. And I'm not going to get tested because I have natural immunity. Do you think we are safe from the vaccine passports? Against governmental socialism? We're not. Please review the document that specifically shows that California has implemented the vaccine passport. I just pass it out to you. The vax is dangerous. The state is trying to mandate that we receive the deadly jab. In closing, I will leave you this to think about. The VAERS data, which is very underreported, shows that there's been over 1,205,000 adverse reports of problems, including over 26,000 deaths and 214 serious injuries, with deaths reported from 18 and younger children at 50. And again, those numbers are very underreported. So I urge you to uphold your oath of office and take measures to protect our county. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments, please? Good morning.
Morning, Board Chairman. First off, it's kind of an honor to be here because I didn't think I was going to be here with the Children of the Revolution Army and autism awareness. And,
May we have your name, sir?
Peter Graff. Actually, a candidate for 2nd District. I live in Tehachapi. It's an honor to be here for those things. It was great to view that. And, you know, as prior law enforcement, I know what a strain child abuse and autism, responding to calls with people with autistic actions, it can be dangerous at times. So, I mean, great accolades to you guys and everybody else for supporting that. I'm actually here to address the Dominion issue, but I'll address that when it comes up. I was a little concerned, though, when I heard Mary speaking. No disrespect, ma'am. But when she came up here, it was more of a rebuttal. It was almost like we were hearing the case being litigated right here. And we have a person who is defending themselves to be a candidate to run for a position, but we didn't hear anything about what it cost the county to go after that person. Does anybody know? Because that's a real question I'd like to have answered. Several times she said she formed an opinion. I get that, but we operate off criteria, policies, and procedures, not opinions. So I think we could have saved money and time if we would have just used the criterias, and the gentleman or whoever's running for that position absolutely met the criterias. Instead of wasting time litigating, we should have just accepted it and had a legal and good, fair election. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other speakers, please? Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Joseph Chesney, and I'm the president for the Kern River Valley Republican Assembly. Good morning, Supervisor Couch, Supervisor Perez, Supervisor Scrivener, Supervisor Peters, and Supervisor Maggard. Good morning. I'm actually here because I want to say something good. I did a bunch of research. I read all the minutes in the end of 13, 14, and 15. Just read all the minutes, every single one. It took me a week and a half, but I did it. But you know what's really cool? I found out something in the beginning. I started reading. I just want to say kudos. I'm up here to say, sir, I would like to give recognition, acknowledge one of the supervisors for doing good. And that is District 3, Mike Maggard. When I was reading the end of your term of the chair in 2013, you made it to where the Ferris wheel is going to stop. You guys know what I'm talking about? It's the order of how the district supervisors become a chairman. And when you put into place that we're going to have starting the merry-go-round, you got to time it to get on. You just said we're going to do it right now, and it was District 5 Supervisor Perez, who, her rookie greenhorn year, call it whatever you want, she got to be chairman as her dropping in on chairman, not like set aside and somebody else. When was the last time that the District 5?
Sir, that's not correct. I was not chair.
You weren't the chair?
I chose not to be chair.
Oh, you didn't?
And Maggard became chair.
Oh, for
because
2014?
I was new. Correct. No, for 2013, I should have been chair. I gave it up.
Okay, but you took it for 2014.
But I wasn't new at that point.
Okay.
Your facts are wrong.
Okay, okay. I thought you came on board in 2014 by reading the minutes. But still, you came on board, and the process was set to where it started on you. It doesn't matter if you're your first year or a 10-year supervisor. When it is your time to become a supervisor, it's your time to become a supervisor. And I just want to acknowledge to Mike Maggard for making that happen before he left in 2013. Is that correct? I think.
Mr. Chesney, your time has expired. If you could please bring your comments to a close.
I just wanted to say thank you for putting it into order where it's one then the other.
Thank you. Any other speakers, please? Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman Scrivener, members of the Board of Supervisors of Kern County, California. My name is Duetta Ann Riley, Duettaannereilly. I came today to talk to you about something really, really important, really serious like a heart attack. There's something with the world going on right now. There's an attempt to turn control over to what's called the New World Order. Many governments are involved at all kinds of levels and positions. But I'm going to tell you some good news about it. You're not going to win that. We're going to win it, we the people. I hope you're on our side. I really, really do. This is getting very serious now. There's a movement called the Great Awakening. Oh, we're watching. We're understanding and comprehending what's going on and how it's happening. And I want to tell you, Q sent me today. Do you know who Q is? Have you heard about that? There's a sting operation. Your votes today matter. It's a sting, it's a setup. All these elections for the last few years have been stings and setups. Biden is not the president. Newsom is not the governor. Pelosi is not the Speaker of the House. Kamala is not Vice President. Donald Trump is, and he won 2020, and I voted for him, and 81 million other people as well. We demand an audit. Flip California to the correct electoral vote status immediately. Some of us will come down and help audit. We will do what we need to do. The charade's over. The game's over. It's coming so quickly. I don't know exactly what moment Q will flip it, and it will be too late. If you're on the wrong side, you're on the wrong side, and it's going to come out because you can't go back, see in the history, and change your votes then. The thing I want to end with today, there's been a lot of comments about the Autism Awareness Month and the child abuse. It's all part of it. Get the fluoride out of the water today. Get it out. It's poison. It's a neurotoxin. Get it out of the water now.
Thank you, Ms. Riley.
I'm not finished.
Well, your time has expired, and so you are. Please bring your comments to a close.
I want to say we have freedom of speech, and if we want to applause, we're going to, and stop violating our constitutional rights. We will sue you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello.
Good morning.
Tough act to follow. My name is Pamela Reese, and I'm here to talk about good old-fashioned voting in person at the polls. I remember in 1967, I was 5 years old, and going to our neighbor's house to vote with my mom and dad. Didn't know what voting was, but I knew it was election day. You could see it, you could feel it, and I wanted to wear it. So it was easy to do the right thing. Cast your vote, have it counted. Piece of cake. It's honest, and it has integrity. And by the way, the definition of integrity doesn't waver. Either you got it or you don't. So, my dear supervisors, there is one sure way to accurately count each legal vote cast in California, and that is by voting in person at the polls on Election Day. I hope y'all push it and bring it to fruition. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers, please? Okay, seeing none, then we're going to move on to board member announcements and reports. And I mentioned earlier that we would hear again from the California Cadet Corps out of Rosamond. And so at this time, I'm going to ask if the board would please indulge me for Kaya Cuellar and Angel Rojas to come up. And also want to thank Ruth Insatroza for singing the national anthem, and I'm sorry that I had trouble with her last name originally, but it was a beautiful rendition. And so they're going to tell us just a little bit about the California Cadet Corps, and then we'll move on to other board member announcements and reports. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Chairman. Really don't want to say this wrong. So
Scrivener, right? It happens to me too. So yeah, I give as good as I get. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And board members, thank you for inviting us to this important meeting here today. We are honored to be here today. I'm Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Kea Quillar, the 273rd Battalion Commander, 15th Brigade Commander, and I also work as the State Assistant S4. The California Cadet Corps began on this day 111 years ago, April 5th, 1911, founded by Brigadier General Edwin A. Forbes. The mission of the Cadet Corps is to create outstanding leadership opportunities for students. We are part of the National Guard youth programs, and the California Cadet Corps has over 7,000 cadets currently and is currently growing from starting in elementary to high school. The vision of the Cadet Corps is to transform students into tomorrow's leaders and community builders. This year was very challenging from moving from Zoom into in-person. We are learning something new every day, and we kept serving and leading. Our 1st Battalion formation was on 9/11, a ceremony to honor a Roseman Marine Lance Corporal Joseph C. Lopez Pratty, killed in Afghanistan with the 3-5 Marines on October 14, 2010. The motto of the California Cadet Corps is in French, which means "Essayons," but translated into English begins with "Let us try." But we do more than try. We serve, we lead, we learn from failures, and we keep going. Our previous battalion commander, Matthew Torres, was in a terrible car accident. Matthew could not walk for 2 weeks, and in doing so, he came back even stronger and promoted to cadet captain a month later. By summer, we finally were able to attend summer encampment, an amazing training offered to all middle school to high school cadets. I led the mountaineering unit, teaching over 100 students how to lead off rocks, rappel, belay, and come off tall towers. Several of our cadets participated in marksmanship, qualifying for expert. Several cadets earned the leadership Black Beret, and later that summer, 4 cadets participated in the rigorous survival training and earned the Red Beret, which is the hardest training within the California Cadet Corps, with only getting food if caught, purify their own water, and their own shelter if made. We conducted a Veterans Day ceremony, passing review, while honoring all of our veterans. We marched in the Roseman Parades of Lights with high motivation and energy. Our cadets have served at school, sports events, and even event security. During one of this weeks, our cadets participated in 9 events in that same week. We just finished our first brigade bivouac at Camp San Luis Obispo, where we conduct all of our training on a post. We are all very excited for summer encampment and survival and the future of the California Cadet Corps. Our hope is to grow our program until every seat is filled in all of our classrooms. We have added more classrooms, and we are more than welcome to welcome this program to any school that would offer us to go there, because we love this program. When Air Force JRTC was shut down, our school, and many of us shed tears. Cadet Sergeant Haley Prestidge, who is here with us today, said Cadet Corps was our only hope, and we were honestly all in shock when she said that, because she said what many of us were so unconfidently able to say. And we are here standing today offering that California Cadet Corps could be in every Kern County school to consider the program of the California Cadet Corps. The possibilities are limitless. Many of our cadets are enrolled at military academies, going to college, or are currently serving in the military. In the face of great challenges and adversity, our cadets never give up. More than anything else, the cadets of the 273rd Battalion prove every day that California Cadet Corps works. Today, I have Cadet Master Sergeant Angel Rojas here today to speak about his amazing story within the California Cadet Corps, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman. How do you say it again, sir?
Scrivener.
Scrivener and board. I'm here today to talk about Cadet Corps and how it helped me. I originally joined Cadet Corps when I was in middle school. I was a knucklehead. I was getting in a lot of trouble. When I met my commandant, Major Arbogast, he set me straight. When I told him I wanted to join the Marine Corps, he was very harsh on me. He told me, I won't get away with this. This is not the way how you're going to join the Corps, because he was also in the Marine Corps. He helped me through school. My grade point average was 1.5, but when I joined Cadet Corps, it bumped up to 2.5, then 3.0. I think Cadet Corps is very amazing. as of right now, I'm also part of Cadet Corps. I came from Army ROTC, which, honest opinion, I prefer Cadet Corps because there's a lot more opportunities, a lot more leadership opportunities. When you rank up, the rank system is a lot more different from ROTC. ROTC, you're given a rank. Unlike Cadet Corps, you go through PTA and you actually earn that rank. Same thing with your positions, you have to show. With me, with Major Arbogast, he showed me a way how to correct myself, how to not get in trouble, how to stay out of trouble, how to learn to be a leader, and also show cadets how to do things. I am the armed drill team commander. I teach them how to handle rifles, how to spin them, and how to do armed drill. Not only that, most of our cadets, some of them, they do have some issues, but they actually very improved because of the Cadet Corps. They honestly said they didn't want to be a part of Cadet Corps, but when they met the rest of us and they actually got more involved, now they're actually more excited. One of them is Charles Willis, I believe how you say his name. When I first met him, he did not want to be a part of Cadet Corps. He was a knucklehead. He was always getting in trouble. Now that he got more involved, he's part of the armed drill team. He's promoting. He's more excited. He's not getting in trouble no more. He's actually leading cadets how to do armed drill, and it's very phenomenal how everyone's doing. That's pretty much all I have to say.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you. So board members, I thank you for indulging me. When I learned about this program, this is the South Kern Unified School District that has this program out of Rosamond. Just exceptional young people, and I just wanted to spread the word a little bit about this program to the other high schools in Kern County. And so thank you all so much for being here. You really blessed us today. And so now I'll ask if there are any other members of the board that have any comments. I believe Supervisor Maggard, you have a board member announcement or report? If not, we can, okay. All right, very good. Any other board members? Okay. Supervisor Peters.
Thank you, Chairman Scrivener. I would like to make a referral asking Mr. Alsop if you could bring back something to our next board meeting, staff report on Senate Bill 1319. Was recently introduced by Senator Grove, and the gist of the bill is that the state of California State Air Resources Board monitors emissions and constantly reports on those from vehicles, and this would require CalGEM to do the same thing for tankers that are importing oil into California, and it would also express the intent of the legislature to prohibit the import of crude oil into California if the source is a foreign nation with demonstrated human rights abuses or environmental standards that are lower than those in California.
Will do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor. Now I will go to Supervisor Maggard.
Thank you. I'm sorry for the confusion. During this part of the agenda, Mary Bedard, we've asked her to come and respond to a letter that was sent to her by Mr. Pavich.
Thank you for the opportunity to address the three issues that were raised by Mr. Pavich in the March 29th board meeting. Two of those issues I already addressed in my presentation to your board on March 1st, but I will repeat those responses again. Mr. Pavich and others have stated that in the November 2020 election, there was a 12,000 vote count variance, but with no context for where they arrived at that number. So when asked on March 1st to explain the supposed 12,000 vote variance with no context and no actual variance to explain, I said I didn't know what they were referring to. However, in a letter sent to your board from Mark McKenzie, Mr. McKenzie did provide the context. That letter stated that registration data as of February 9th, 2021, reported that 296,951 voters were credited with having voted in Kern County in the November 3rd, 2020 election, which is lower than the 309,143 votes counted in that election. The difference is 12,192 votes. So that is where they are getting this number. However, the use of this report for that purpose demonstrates a fundamental misunderstanding of voter registration in general and the information on the February 9th report they were looking at in particular. I addressed the issue of voter registration in my presentation on March 1st, and I will repeat that. Voter registration numbers change on a daily basis. As people move, they die, they turn 18, and as we receive this information, we update the voter roll accordingly. So this 12,000 vote number is arrived at by looking at voter registration data at a point in time 3 months after the 2020 election, after some of the people who voted in the 2020 election moved or died and were removed from the registration roll, and then seeing which of the people who were still registered to vote in Kern County in February 2021 voted the previous November. And it is less than the total number of people who voted in November, as would be expected. The 12,000 missing voters are simply people who were eligible to vote and who voted in 2020 and then moved or died and were no longer registered to vote in Kern County on February 9th, 2021. The next issue Mr. Pavich raised was the number of undeliverable ballots in the 2020 election of 16,591, which did make Kern the 6th highest county as a percentage of undeliverable ballots at approximately 4%. But we are constantly working to maintain the accuracy of our voter rolls. So for the recall election, our percentage of undeliverable ballots dropped from 4% to 2.65%. This was still higher than we would like, but placed us lower than 18 other counties, including Kings, San Joaquin, Orange, and Ventura. And we are continuing our efforts to reduce the number of undeliverable ballots in the June primary. The final item Mr. Pavich raised was also addressed in my March 1st presentation. This deals with 179,000 ballots, which he identifies as status unknown. He arrives at this figure by looking at the approximately 430,000 ballots mailed and subtracting the 251,000 vote-by-mail ballots voted to arrive at 179,000 unvoted mail ballots. He calls the status of these ballots unknown, but we do know the status. 16,500 of those unvoted ballots were unvoted because they were undeliverable. There were also 42,500 mail ballots that were not voted because the voters voted in person at a poll site. That leaves us with 120,000 vote-by-mail ballots, or 28%, that people simply chose not to vote, which results in Kern's 72% turnout rate in 2020, the second lowest in the state after Imperial County. And just ahead of Kern in turnout were Kings, Fresno, and Tulare. So where Mr. Pavich is presenting this as a vote-by-mail ballot issue, what he has actually identified is that Kern County had lower voter turnout than other counties in 2020. And I don't think that comes as a huge surprise to most people, since historically, Kern County in particular, and the southern San Joaquin Valley in general, has had lower voter turnout than many other areas of the state. And this was borne out again in 2020. This lack of civic engagement in so many of our eligible voters is concerning, and Elections has tried to do what we can. In 2020, we spent over $1 million in grant funds on advertising before the November election. And since then, we have increased our community outreach and social media efforts. But this is not a problem to be solved by the Elections Division. This lack of engagement of so much of the eligible voting population in Kern County should be of concern to the entire community, and it can only be addressed by a community-wide effort. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bedard. Any other board member announcements or reports? Okay, seeing none, then we'll move on to item number 12 on our agenda. This is an item under the Auditor, Controller, County Clerk. Proposed retroactive amendment to number 3, Agreement 101-2016 with Dominion Voting Systems, Inc. to extend term of agreement 1 year from December 31, 2021 to December 31, 2022 in an amount not to exceed $224,316. And I will once again turn to our Auditor, Controller, County Clerk, Mary Bedard. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. The item before you is amendment number 3 to the agreement with Dominion Voting Systems. On March 8, 2016, your board approved the contract with Dominion for the purchase of the ICC tabulating equipment, as well as the prepayment of 5 years of annual license and warranty fees. On December 19, 2017, your board approved Amendment Number 1 to add the purchase of the ICX ballot marking devices for use at poll sites for ADA purposes, as well as their annual license and warranty fees. On March 19, 2019, your board approved Amendment Number 2 to add the remote accessible vote-by-mail software with annual license fee. The original agreement stated the term of the agreement continued until December 31st, 2021, which was the final date covered by the prepayment of the license and warranty fees. However, the agreement also provided that the licenses and warranties authorized by the agreement may extend beyond that date according to the terms and conditions of such license and warranty. In other words, the agreement stated that the authorization for license and warranty extended beyond December 31st, 2021. Therefore, it was our understanding that the agreement authorized us to continue paying the license and warranty on an annual basis after the prepayment period expired. However, when we went to pay the annual fees for 2022, County Council advised us that, in their opinion, there needed to be an amendment to the agreement to enable us to pay the license and warranty for 2022. That is why this amendment is coming to your board retroactively. The annual license and warranty fee for the ICC equipment purchased under the original agreement is the same as it was 6 years ago. The license and warranty for the ICX equipment purchased under Amendment Number 1 is also the same as when it was purchased. The license for the RAVBM software purchased under Amendment Number 2 has increased from $3,000 to $3,150. So the total increase in cost over the past 6 years is $150. Therefore, because this equipment is critical to conducting the primary and general elections in 2022, I request your board's approval for Amendment Number 3 to extend the term of the agreement to December 31st, 2022, to enable us to pay the 2022 license and warranty fees in order to conduct the 2022 elections. That concludes my remarks.
Thank you, Ms. Bedard. Any questions from the board before I go to the public for comment? Okay, seeing none. Ms. Bedard, thank you. We'll ask if there are any members of the audience that would like to make comments on item number 12. Please come forward, state your name, and you have 2 minutes.
My name is Jim Robinson. I apologize for my previous breach of protocol. Do I have to adjust my time on that?
No, you have 2 minutes.
Okay, very good. The first question I'd like to ask is, how were the votes tabulated prior to the Dominion voting machines being brought on board for Kern County?
Okay, go ahead and ask your questions, and we'll get them answered once you conclude your statement.
Okay, very good. And I'd like to implore the board to table this item for another 30 days in order to provide a period for citizen oversight regarding the viable alternative to tabulating the votes cast in any upcoming election falling under purview by the County of Kern. The alleged irregularities associated with the Dominion voting machines across the country are still in question, and Kern County voters are entitled to absolute clarity when it comes to the efficacy and the integrity of how their votes are counted. Really and truly, this became a very, very contentious thing, voter integrity, when they brought the Dominion machines on board and then when we went to mail-in ballots. Now, it seems to me that something has to give at some point. Either we go ahead and go back to the traditional method of distributing the ballots, or we go back to a traditional method of counting those ballots. Obviously, we have got a really, really, really big disconnect that's causing an awful lot of ill feelings and possibly allowing for potential illegalities as far as our election is concerned. And I don't think that the citizens of Kern County should have to submit to this without some sort of viable alternative being brought forth by the Board of Supervisors. You guys approved the machines. I realize that there's not a whole lot we can do as far as the state goes with the mail-in ballots, but still, something has to give. And if anything does give, then let it give right here in Kern County. We've got to do something to contend with this. As citizens of this county, we have got to get back to fair elections. And by the way, Flora, for whatever it's worth, I'm applauding you in my head. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. And if you do have questions, they will be addressed once the public statement period is concluded. Good morning.
Good morning, board. How are you? My name is Terry Maxwell. Couple things. As far as the Dominion voting machines are concerned, you may be thinking in your head, yeah, it's never been shown that Dominion has done anything wrong I will remind you that in Arizona, they did find that there was discrepancies. Also that the Dominion, if you look at your contract with them, it says that you cannot audit what they did unless you get their approval. They've never given approval to anybody to audit anything they've done. Forensic audit might show that even though we are in a Republican county, that the votes still aren't being counted correctly. Now, I don't know if they're right or wrong because we haven't done that audit. Ms. Bedard has not asked for that from you to get the money to actually do a forensic audit. The audit that they do is really kind of a Mickey Mouse sort of a situation where they take only 1% and extrapolate that out. But I will point one other thing out very quickly is that, you know, your contract went for 5 years and it ended in December of 2021. And now here we're here today, 2 months before the election. How can you possibly make any other decision but, oh, well, I guess we've got to go forward with these Dominion machines? Ms. Bedard has not put you in a position where you really have a choice. We've talked about the incompetence and we've questioned the leadership in the elections department. This is further proof that we should be questioning that they can't come to this board with plenty of time for them to say, no, we don't want to use the Dominion machines this time. We think that there might be something wrong with it, and as long as there might be something wrong with it, we're going to go a different direction. What is it going to take to have these votes counted by hand? With only 2 months to go, I think the answer is you probably can't change it at this point. I think that's a shame, and that's a direct violation of my rights as a voter and everybody's rights as voters. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman Scrivener and board members. My name is Frederick Rowe, R-O-W-E, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. The last few days I've been collecting information, researching information from a number of highly qualified cybersecurity experts, including J. Alex Halderman, computer science and engineering professor, professor of computer science at University of Michigan, Dan Wallach, computer science professor at Rice University, Andrew Apple, Eugene Higgins, professor of computer science at Princeton University, Philip Stark, statistics professor at UC Berkeley, and Matt Blaze, McDevitt, chair of computer science and law at Georgetown University. And after researching and looking at what these people had to say concerning cybersecurity, there were two statements that really stood out. One, sort of consensus statements. One was that voting machines are vulnerable to hacking, even if they're not connected to the internet. And this is true of all machines, not just Dominion. The second statement, the second consensus statement is that part of the vulnerability is that there's no secure way to audit the machines. So the hackers, if they're hacking, have the capability of removing all digital traces of hacking, so you can't even tell that it's been done. In the case of Dominion, it's my understanding that the company does not even allow audits, which, if true, that should really be a non-starter for this county selecting the machines. Please note that this problem did not start with the 2020 elections. It's been in existence for years, and it's not a partisan issue. In 2018, then Senator Kamala Harris from California, who we all know, Senator Amy Klobuchar, Democrat from Minnesota, and Senator Ron Wyden, Democrat from Oregon, all voiced their concerns about the vulnerabilities of voting machines to being hacked. It's absolutely essential that the election process is secure, that it's transparent, that it's accountable, and that every step of the process can be audited. With machines, you just cannot do this in a trustworthy fashion, and this has been demonstrated multiple times by numerous cybersecurity experts. The machines are a clear impediment to secure elections. I believe that utilizing paper ballots is the only way that votes can be counted with full transparency, full accountability, and with the ability to have the election results be fully audited.
Thank you, Mr. Rowe. Your time has expired. Next speaker, please.
Good morning, Chairman Scrivener, distinguished board members, once again. If one were to watch mainstream media or the print media, most people would
Can you state your name again, please?
Oh, I'm sorry, Vince Mayoko. Sorry about that. If most people were to watch mainstream media or print media, people would come to the conclusion that the only people with concerns about the Dominion voting system are President Trump's supporters. However, if you go back in time, as a previous speaker mentioned, to the summer of 2019, that was far from the case. This is not a partisan political issue. Both political sides have voiced concerns with Dominion and other ballot counting vendors. I have an article from June 25th of 2019 from the Hill News, where Senator Elizabeth Warren, a Democrat from Massachusetts, and at the time a presidential candidate, released a plan to secure elections against cyber threats and foreign interference, as well as to end voting suppression. Warren's plan, which was published in an article in the Medium, would have the federal government replace every voting machine in the nation with state-of-the-art equipment, specifically machines that will allow for hand-marked, voter-verified paper ballots. Here's a quote from Senator Warren: "Our elections should be as secure as Fort Knox. However, they're less secure than your Amazon account." That comes from Senator Elizabeth Warren. Another quote from Ms. Warren: "Enough is enough," Warren wrote. "It's time to make high-quality voting in the greatest democracy in the world easy, convenient, and professional. It's time to secure our elections from all threats, foreign and domestic. It's time to address election security, administrative problems, and voter suppression." That, once again, coming from Senator Elizabeth Warren. Here's another press release from the Warren office in December 10th of 2019, where herself, Senator Amy Klobuchar from Minnesota, Senator Wyden from Oregon, where they made a specific cry out to the Senate to have the Dominion voting system, along with election system software and HART InterCivic, basically abolished. So for people to make this a partisan political issue is the furthest from the truth. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker, please. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Board, for giving me the opportunity to speak. My name is Debbie Mule, M-U-E-L-L. I am here to say that I'm opposed to redoing the Dominion voting machines. My opinion, and that of many experts, is that our election system is corrupt and these machines cannot be trusted. I listened to hours of testimony from the cybersecurity experts at the Regents University Conference on American Election Integrity last year, as well as several days of Mike Lindell's Cyber Symposium. The evidence I've seen in all of these is mind-blowing, and I've also read numerous cyber experts' reports and court filings in various lawsuits. We likely all heard about the glitches in Antrim County, Michigan, where thousands of votes were taken from Trump and given to Biden, later fixed. However, there were other glitches in 28 states, all Dominion machines. A Dallas-based cybersecurity firm, ASOG, concluded in its report that Dominion machines were, quote, intentionally and purposely designed with inherent errors to create systemic fraud and influence the election results, end quote. Just recently, in a video presentation, University of Michigan computer science and engineering professor Alex Halderman stated he and his colleagues have repeatedly hacked America's voting machines, and in every instance, they found ways for attackers to sabotage machines and steal votes. In a sworn declaration, he stated, quote, given the nature of the vulnerabilities and the time that would be necessary to mitigate them before the 2022 midterm elections, we believe it is critical for Dominion and affected jurisdictions to begin taking responsive action soon. Isn't it interesting? The Halderman report has been under seal since July 2021 in federal court in Atlanta. Just recently, a federal cybersecurity agency stepped in to block the release of the Halderman report, and U.S. District Judge Amy Tottenberg so far has only allowed attorneys and expert witnesses to access the report.
Ms. Mule, your time has expired. If you could please bring your comments to a close.
Okay, just my one final point is that Dominion's own CEO, Eric Coomer, explained how to alter votes in the machines and discuss vote switching. So please, for the sake of our elections and our election security, do not renew this Dominion contract. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Good morning.
Morning, Chairman Scrivener, Board of Supervisors. My name is Tom Pavich, P-A-V-I-C-H. I am with the Election Integrity Project, California. I'm the Kern County Coordinator. Voting machines have had a long history of controversy. In the year 2000, the hanging chads. 2004, you had the Diebold allegations that votes could be flipped on the kiosks. 2020, we have Dominion, we have Smartmatic, and experts such as Dr. Shiva, the inventor of email, and Mike Lindell's white hat hackers, all claiming allegations that voting systems could be manipulated. And then you had the lady out of Georgia in the elections department that made her own video showing that she could flip a vote off of her machine, and that video went viral. What I can tell you about is what we have here in Kern County. Kern County, we have a system that is dependent upon one expert IT person. Without that IT person, the system could not be run effectively. If he were unavailable, you would have to bring Dominion in to basically run the election. There was one day when I was down in the elections office and the power went down. The backup generator failed. The lights were out. We were in darkness. The door to the tabulation room was locked. Nobody could get in it because it was electronic. People were searching frantically for a key. They went to the old keychain of the prior elections chief to see if they could find a key. Nobody could get in. The IT person happened to be unavailable. Fortunately, the power did come on. The IT person did finally arrive, and everything was back to business. But it made me think, what would happen if the power didn't come on? Or what would happen if the Dominion system and the IT system failed? What would we do? And then I thought, ultimately, we'd have to have a hand count. That's the only way we could possibly count our votes. So with that thought, I would propose that we take the $224,000 that we're going to allocate here. You've made a proposal to dedicate county employees now to help on election day. You could hire an army of temporary people to help collect and count the paper vote by mail ballots, the paper election day ballots, and the paper provisional ballots.
Mr. Pavich, your time has expired. If you could please bring your comments to a close, we'd appreciate it.
Yes, and as far as I can tell, I see no reason why you could not do that. The election code would not prohibit that. With that, I close. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning again. My name is Flor, last name Hull. Thank you for listening today. You know, like I said, I'm new to all of this, but my eyes have been wide open to what's going on. And remember, they said it's not who votes, it's who counts the votes that matters. So I think Kern County is such a wonderful place to live. You know, we've worked as a community. We have the highest cancer fundraisers. We have ministries. We have churches. And I think because we have had such great people running, and unfortunately, there's bad people that do want to come in and change what's going on in our beautiful city. And so I would ask that you not fulfill the Dominion, because as I watched, there was kids with earbuds dancing through, pushing votes. They weren't even checking the signatures. They're just running through, laughing, dancing on their iPhones, while we're just sitting here in a little corner, mortified at what was going on. I want you guys to be involved watching, because you probably had a lot more votes than what you thought. I think there was a lot of things that went on. They said, my dead mother voted last year for, she did vote for Biden, which she was a Democrat. So just like, you know, they didn't vote incorrectly, but my dead mother had passed away, and they didn't take her off the rolls, and I turned it in, they took it off, and it's, I just have a screenshot of it, and nobody ever looked at that. My mother passed away in 2019. She was a hardcore Democrat, so she would have voted for Biden anyways, but I just let you know what's going on. Those rolls are not cleaned. They have kids going on checking the signature verification that are not qualified. There's a lot of stuff that you need to be aware of going in there. Doesn't matter what side of the aisle. It's not the votes, it's who counts the votes. That is very important in that place. So please do not bring these machines in. Let's count by hand, the honest way. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hall. Next speaker, please.
There's no question, Jesse Sanders, there's no question that people have said that there's no accurate way of saying that the Dominion's machines were not accurate. There's no accurate way of saying that they were absolute accurate. And the people that brought up and say, hey, look, yes, there was some discrepancies, but there wasn't really enough to change anything, so we're not going to bother looking into it. The fact that there were discrepancies means they need to be looked into. The Dominion machine and Smartmatics, the Smartmatic was developed by Venezuela shortly before Maduro won with the Dominion machine. It's just a coincidence, I think, but we need to look at them. I'm against having them here since you can't do an actual forensic audit without the Dominion people here that can alter it as needed. The other thing I would like to see is voter ID, thumbprints. No dead people have thumbprints usable. People that don't exist don't have thumbprints. Only those voters that are registered with thumbprints have thumbprints. It's not racist. Everybody has a thumbprint. And they're already required at the DMV. I'm not sure why it's a racist thing if they require them at the DMV to be on your license, but it would be racist to require them as a voter ID. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Good morning.
Hello, my name is Judith Olson. Olsson is the spelling of the last name. I'm considering what you are going to be doing when you extend this term of agreement with Dominion. And I voted in the last election. I was so concerned about the security of my vote. I popped it in the box downstairs. And then after I had voted and there was a lot of issues going on with the election, I did not have any more confidence that what I had decided was really counted rightly. And so I'm very concerned about this Dominion machine. I'm very concerned about our elections. I totally have lost confidence that we're going in the right direction, on that we will have a fair election. I don't mind losing. I just want to lose the right way. I don't want to lose because someone cheated. And so I have some vocabulary words that I looked up. And as you consider this decision, use common sense, use prudence. There are things to embrace. There are things to avoid. Nothing twisted or crooked. Put down arrogance and pride. Lay aside perverted speech. Choose that which is straight and right. Use just governance. Walk in the paths of justice. Blessed are those, God says, who keep my ways. Whoever finds me finds life and obtains favor from the Lord. These are noble words. They encourage you when you make these decisions. They also weigh you in the balance scales. Thank you.
Thank you.
Paul Infeste again, District 3. I just wanted to comment on about using thumbprints. I know my dad was 103 years old when he passed last year. And for the last 10 years or so, he no longer had active thumbprints, something I didn't know about. But apparently, as people get older, and a lot of senior citizens up in that age range, they lose their fingerprints, something I hadn't known before. So I'm just saying that would be something that might be discriminatory in the sense of affecting our eldest people who are still active voters. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Just quite briefly, my name is Donald Olson, O-L-S-S-O-N on the last name. And my understanding is that Joe Biden is our president because of Dominion software. So that's all I need to say.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good morning. I'm very new to this. My name is Dr. Susan Rao, and I'm here compelled because I have a deep love for our country. We have a son that has served as a Navy SEAL, and my father served in the World War II in Guadalcanal. And I came from a family that with a deep regard for our nation. And I'm just here to simply implore you to please listen to what has been said about this Dominion system. There is a lack of integrity. If we do not have integrity in our voting system, we will lose our nation. Please kindly consider something, an alternative that has integrity.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman and board members. Dennis McLean. I've spoken several times regarding the national consent that Dominion voting machines are compromised. They have been proven to be tied to the internet. We must remove these from our county's election system. Why has this issue not been addressed last year instead of prior to the upcoming election? We are now approaching another election, and your staff is trying to rubber stamp this corrupt device back into action. We have heard from the public of many wrongdoings in our local election process. Let's get rid of perhaps the most evil component of the election system, the Dominion voting machine. Let's go back to voting in person with paper ballots and photo IDs to assure an honest election. A couple of remaining questions. On your agenda sheet here, number 12, at the bottom it goes, approve, authorize chairman to sign. Who decides that statement? Is that the staff, the counselors, or the election department? It's certainly not the public. A couple more things. I'd like to know more about what the warranty covers on these Dominion machines. Does that allow any upgrades or modifications by the manufacturer? Can anybody answer that? Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. McLean. Next speaker, please.
Good morning again. Peter Graff, candidate, 2nd District Supervisor. Dominion, very highly contested. A lot of people unhappy with it. And this is both sides of the parties. Argued on both sides to be faulted. And it's been investigated to be faulted. I take exception with the county spending almost $250,000 to bring in a system that is so highly unreliable. I can't even fathom why we'd even contemplate this. So, I mean, there's good things and bad things coming speaking after a lot of these great people. They brought up great points, great statistics, great readings, but make this simple. Table this. You need to table this so that there's more investigation into it so that it makes more sense, because ultimately, long-term, this will affect you politically in this county. You may have bigger endeavors that take you into more of a, partisan area that will benefit you, but this will affect you here in this county, how you choose to go today. Spending $250,000 on a highly contentious system that is faulted is absolutely ridiculous. Spend a little bit of time, table this, discuss it amongst yourself, discuss it like you're discussing it for your constituents, not for you, for your constituents. Take that into consideration and how they want you to act on their behalf, because that's what you're here for, correct? So let's make sure we do that. Sit down and discuss this table. Let's take a little more time. Use this time That's what we have, time, right? We have an election coming up. Nothing says we cannot do a hard copy count. That's what we need to do. This is a faulted system. Review your facts, consider your constituents, do a hard copy count. Do not act on this now. It will have long-term consequences for you. Do a hard copy count and make sure there's integrity in our political system here. We've lost integrity in our system. We've lost transparency. It's time for you guys now to take the opportunity to bring it back. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello, I'm Chairman Scrivener, members of the Board of Supervisors. About that sting.
Ma'am, could we have your name once again,
Oh, I'm
please? I know
sorry.
you spoke earlier. Thank you.
Yes, I'm Duetta Ann Riley, DuettaanneReilly. About the sting, the stakes could not be higher for all of us. There is evidence, and it's been put on the internet. Mike Lindell, Ron Watkins. There's a branch of the military that's the Q team. They caught everything live as the corruption happened, 2020 and before, way before. This isn't new. This is how elections have been stolen worldwide for quite some time. They've decided to make a run on this one sooner than they were prepared. There's errors, mistakes everywhere, but it's been caught by the Q team. I saw it. I saw the evidence. Choose wisely. This involves other foreign governments. Some we might have called allies and thought they were. Some we would never have called allies, and they're not. They're involved in the overthrow of 2020. The penalty for that is treason. The charge for that's treason. The penalty is a military tribunal and a firing squad. Please choose wisely. The stakes could not be higher, and it's coming faster than you know.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Good morning.
Morning. My name is Don Musser. I'm from Ridgecrest. This is my third trip to talk about election integrity. I'm coming from the perspective of trust, and I think the voters have lost trust in the Dominion machines. We've all seen what happens all across the country with what people have investigated and found, and I think it's an issue that we need to deal with. And if you think about trust, start with the very basics on trust. Children. If you as an adult walk into a room and the child goes, what's the first thing you do? What's behind your back? Nothing. Okay, then you're going to go find out what's behind their back. You don't trust that. So the problem with Dominion machines or any voting machine that is electronic is you can't tell what's inside the box. You heard the other speaker testify that only an expert can tell you what's going on, so you have to trust them. This country voted for 200 years with paper ballots and hand counting, and people trusted what happened because they could see the results. I think that's the direction we need to go. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, sir. Any other speakers, please? Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Ron Barger. I was up here a few weeks ago regarding the same issue. I'm here to talk about Frank's speech. I mentioned this to all of you last time. He's got his own platform on the internet. You can print in Frank's speech, pull it up, scroll down 2 spots, and you'll come to bombshell proof election machine manipulation, complete video, hacking Americans' voting system. Has either any of you looked at that since I was here? To be honest, no? Pull it up today, right after this. There's more information in there than anybody's talked about here, and he's got his own forensic team. He's flying all over the United States. He spent $30 million. He'll come to this county and he will go through an audit for you. I don't know if he'll charge anything. Right now, he's just trying to pull the truth up, okay? There was a county clerk in Colorado. Her name's Tina Peters. She was elected. She happened to record the election last year on her own, okay? Here comes Dominion. They come in and they work on the machines, and then they altered their video or their disc. But she has the original. We haven't heard it all yet, but this is coming out. This is how evil Dominion is. They went in, they took out pieces of the election, but they're not identical to hers. So that's my request again. Let's get rid of these machines. Let's get back to voting like we used to. We're Americans. We're proud to be Americans, but we're not anymore. This is bull. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker, please. Good morning.
Good morning. Hi, Board of Supervisors. Again, this is Mary Little. I wasn't planning on speaking on this, but I'll just keep it brief. Board of Supervisors, we are the land of the free, the home of the brave. We are here fighting for our freedom. We love America. And I know that you love America too, or you wouldn't be serving where you're serving, the people of Kern County, to help protect us. So I urge you to table this agenda item. I urge you to talk about it and discuss it. We're counting on you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers, please?
Good morning again. Joe Chesney, 1st District, Kern River Valley. Yeah, there's a reason why I became the president is because of so many people in Kern River Valley that are registered voters that just say, I'm not voting, they're registered. Mary Bedard states we're really low on the voting, and there's a reason, because everybody, why I'm here and a president now is because Joe, go bat for us here in Kern River Valley, because they don't want to vote. I'm trying to get people to become part of the California Republican Assembly. Be a voter. No, I'm not going to vote. That whole Dominion thing and everything. Oh my gosh, the Dominion thing and it's just so hard to get people to come in and be part of the California Republican Assembly. But then again, I wanted to bring it up. Deja vu is going on right now, folks. Right here, August 20th, Kern Ria, I think that's her name. In August, she submitted a request for the Dominion, they refer to it as a blended solution. And that was in August. And like I said, I read all the minutes. So if I'm wrong and somebody's got something here that I don't know that I overlooked, but I don't see anything stated at all in any minutes in 2015 of Karen Ria or whoever was in here to let you guys know, hey, we would like to go to the Dominion blended solution with the GEMS system. They, from what I understand, they just went off on their own. Although they sound like, when it comes from Alex Padilla, it definitely says, to all county clerks, Kern County is requesting administrative approval of the Dominion voting system. Sounds like the chief of the elections department is speaking for you guys. Is she? Did you guys know that she sent this letter off in August 20th to ask for a blended solution? Because I looked in the minutes, there is nowhere in the minutes that says that, hey, everybody, we're going to submit a request. Do we have your approval for a request? As far as I'm concerned, this Karen Ria gal, she just went ahead and did it on her own accord, got it all set up, and then pulled a move what she did. What's going on right now?
Mr.
In
Chesney,
August of
your time has expired,
okay.
Mr. Chesney. Please bring your comments to a close.
I'm requesting a minute, another 30 seconds.
I'm sorry. That's not. You have 2 minutes, just like everybody else, and your time has expired.
That's interesting how that. But anyways, yeah, they went ahead and are doing it again now.
Thank you.
She waited 8 months. She's doing it again.
Thank you, Mr. Chesney.
It is 2 months prior to what's going on. That's what happened in 2016, everybody.
Next speaker, please.
They had it in 2015. And then in 2016, she lets the county clerk, this Karen Young, lets everybody know
Do we have any other speakers?
that she didn't tell
Do we have any other speakers?
My question, do you guys
No.
even know that they sent this?
Mr. Chesney, please have a seat. Thank you so much. Do we have any other speakers, please?
Can non-speakers volunteer their time to let him
Do no, you may not. We have everybody gets 2 minutes. Do we have any? Mr. Chesney, thank you. Do we have any other speakers, please? Okay, seeing none, then I'll return to the board. I'll ask Ms. Bedard to come up and respond to any comments. There was a question that was specifically asked from Mr. Robinson that we'll make sure to get a response from, but we'll allow Ms. Bedard to respond to anything she would like to, and then we'll go ahead and ask that question.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
Good morning.
Chairman. Good morning. To respond to some of the statements that were made as far as whether or not Dominion can simply make changes to this, the equipment has to pass through both federal and state certification procedures.
I'm going to ask the members of the audience to please refrain from making comments while Ms. Bedard is responding, or any members of the board. The time for public comment is closed. Ms. Bedard, please continue.
So the equipment has to be certified by both federal and state authorities in order to be able to be used in California. And any changes to any existing equipment, whether it's Dominion or any of the other equipment manufacturers, also goes through the certification process. So the companies do not simply make changes. It is all certified by federal and state authorities. As far as some of the other statements that were made, I would point out that as far as any investigations into Dominion or any of the other equipment manufacturers, there were thorough investigations. Former Attorney General William Barr had stated in 2020 that both the DOJ and the FBI had looked into these charges. The Department of Homeland Security has also looked into these issues. And they did not find that any substantiation to the charges regarding the equipment. Regarding paper ballots, obviously Kern County does use paper ballots. Not all counties and states do, but we have used paper ballots for many years. As was mentioned, we do a standard, and it's required by law, a 1% manual tally. And what that means is we randomly draw, it's a way of getting a sample size. You randomly draw 1% of the precincts, and then we do a hand count of every vote and every race in those precincts, compare it against the machine tabulation to find any discrepancies. And we have found no tabulation discrepancies between our hand count and the machine count. I would point out that there are, and where people say that there are differences, but they don't they don't amount to enough to make a difference. What that is being referred to is, at times you see what are called adjudication errors. And what that means is basically with the paper ballots that we've got, you fill in the bubble, which obviously is not new technology. They were using that back when I was in school. You filled out your test scores, and it was run through equipment, and it simply tabulates the results. The core of this equipment is fairly old technology. There are new bells and whistles, very nice aspects of the newer equipment, provides very good audit trails on things. But the core technology is just looking at which bubble for which candidate is filled in. So as far as tabulation, we have not found anything where the machine did not see a filled-in bubble correctly the way a person would. What you do see is where, say, a voter does not fill out the ballot correctly. Maybe they don't fill in the bubble, they simply put a circle around it, or they write yes next to one of the bubbles for the candidate. The machine isn't going to read that as a vote because the bubble isn't filled in. But when you do a hand count, then people looking at that will look at that and say, yes, we can decipher what that voter meant. And so again, you do get into the whole idea of voter intent. And we are required, if it's obvious what that voter intended, then yes, you count that vote. You give the benefit of the doubt to the voter. And so that's when they say that there is a discrepancy between any kind of hand count and the machine count. It's those adjudication errors. It's because a human person looking at it will see things that the machine is simply looking at which bubble is filled out. So that's as far as when you start looking at what the discrepancies are. And I would also point out that while we do the 1% manual tally, there is a pilot program in California, and many states do use what's called a risk limiting audit. Again, it is an audit of the tabulation results. It's similar to our 1% manual tally. Basically, it's just a matter of how do you determine your sample size and how do you determine your sample. But all elections offices do these audits after the fact to audit the tabulation equipment, but it's based on a sampling method. And when you're looking at a risk limiting audit, you're looking at how close the race is. You're doing it by race, and you see how close those races are, and that determines your sample size. If it's a very close race, you would have a much larger sample size than in a race that was not close. So in the case of Georgia, they do a risk limiting audit, and in 2020, in the presidential race, it was extremely close. Their risk limiting audit would have required them to do a hand count of a million ballots. So in the end, they decided to do a hand count of all of their ballots, which was, I believe, about 5 million ballots. So they actually did a 100% hand count of the ballots in the presidential race in 2020, and it confirmed the tabulation results of the Dominion equipment. So, there is really, as much as people may say it, the official, as far as the Department of Justice, the FBI, all of the agencies that have looked at this, and even the hand count, these audits that individual counties and states perform, have confirmed the hand count. The hand count confirms that the tabulation results of the tabulating equipment. Some just to respond to some of the other things that were mentioned as far as being able to do a hand count, we are required to use the certified equipment in California. So we would not be able to just not have any equipment and do a hand count. Besides, at this point, we have over 400,000 registered voters. In 2020, over 300,000 of them voted. And you're not looking at just one race other than in the recall when you did have just the one race on the ballot. In a normal election, you have many, many different races. If you're having to hand count that, we would never be able to, regardless of how many temporary workers you hired, we would never be able to hand count all those ballots in time to be able to certify the election. And as I say, we would not be allowed to do that by the state. Again, some of the references to voter ID, that's not our call. That's the state determines whether or not we can require to see ID at a poll site. So many of the complaints that people have, they are not our option. We do not have a choice in these things. This is based on state law. So that concludes my remarks.
Thank you, Ms. Bedard. Just the one question I know that Mr. Robinson asked that I did say we would get an answer to, it was essentially how were votes tabulated before the Dominion machines were utilized. And I think that you may have touched on that, but just to explicitly get an answer for him, please.
Yes, we did have other tabulating machines prior to 2016 when we got the current Dominion equipment, and then of course prior to that we had the touch screens where you had the memory cards, and so we did have different tabulators that would tabulate the results from the memory cards, and again, as was mentioned before, even prior to that when we had the punch cards, there was obviously you had holes in the punch cards. We weren't hand counting the holes. Those were being run through tabulating machines. So different types of machines for the different technology, but we, as I say, we've been using machine tabulation for over 50 years.
Thank you, Ms. Bedard. I'll return to the board now, ask for any questions or comment. The requested action is to approve this item. Supervisor Peters.
Thank you, Chairman Scrivener. Ms. Bedard, one of the questions that was asked was, or a point that was made was, it said under the Dominion contract, we can't audit their results without Dominion's approval. That doesn't seem like that is possible. We would have to legally be able to audit those results. Isn't that true?
Yes, we perform the audits as required by the Secretary of State. I don't know what they exactly mean by that, other than that you cannot just have outsiders trying to get inside the guts of the machine. But there are, as I say, there's a whole certification process. The state certifies the equipment to begin with. There are tests that are run, every county has to run on the equipment prior to every election, and then, as I say, there are the audit, the risk limiting audit, or the 1% manual tally, which is essentially an audit of the tabulation results afterwards.
Okay, thank you. If the board were to not approve this today, what would happen as far as the election, the impact of this not being approved?
We wouldn't be able to conduct the elections in 2022. This is the equipment we have. We need the licensing.
Once again, I'm going to ask the audience to refrain. Mr. Barger, this would be the second or third time that I've asked you in various hearings, respectfully, not to speak while someone is speaking. I know you have freedom of speech, but we also have decorum here. I am starting to determine that you're being disruptive in this hearing. Thank you. Ms. Bedard, please continue.
Okay, we have the current equipment that we have, which is the Dominion equipment. We need the licensing to be able to use the software that's on the equipment. So we do need to have this item approved so that we can pay the license fees and be able to use the equipment in the elections.
Okay, are there any alternatives available to extending the contract? I mean, even if we don't go with it right now, just down the road, for example, what other machines are out there that we could use here? Okay, is there anything else available to us?
The other certified machines in California are ES&S and Hart InterCivic. Those have been certified for use in California, so those would be the options, the other options we would have to Dominion at some time in the future.
Okay. One of the things that we heard a couple times was issue with engaging the volunteers or the people that came to work at the polls. Is there a plan in place, or have you guys reviewed that internally as far as how to engage with those poll workers or the volunteers at this upcoming election, just as far as making that a more interactive experience for them?
If you're talking about the observers at the poll sites or at the elections office, is that
yes,
what you're referring to?
Thank you.
Yes, we do try to make it as to be able to have them as close to the what we are doing as possible at the poll sites. I mean, there are rules at the poll sites. They are not allowed to be in the actual voting area. They cannot get behind, say, the precinct table. They cannot interfere with the election process, so that they are limited to where they can be at the poll site. And these are rules that do come down from the state. In our office, when they are observing the counting process, I mean, we do have glassed-in areas so they can see into the area, say, where we're processing vote-by-mail ballots. During the pandemic, because of needing to have the distancing and trying to keep people safe, we did set up monitors so that they could see the screens that the election workers were looking at for signature verification, but didn't have to be standing right behind the people who are doing the signature verification. And we are setting up, we have remodeled our vote-by-mail room, and with being able to accommodate the observers and have them be able to see the process more clearly. So yes, we have been working closely to be able to enable them to see the process as it unfolds.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Bedard. Chairman Scrivener, that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor. Supervisor Perez.
Thank you so much, Chairman. Can you respond to the allegation that volunteers were treated like animals?
What we do is we do limit where they can stay. We do actually in the where the glassed area, they are behind the glassed area. We do provide chairs there. Now, there are certain times when they do go into the vote by mail area, and rather where they can't, we're providing chairs for them standing behind poll workers or election workers while they're doing the work would impede where people how people move around in the area. So, but they are they are provided with an area that they can sit at and be able to see into the process. The goal for the observers is to be able to see the process. And so,
thank you so much. In any way, shape, or form, did you see any volunteers being treated like animals?
Of course not.
In any way, shape, or form?
No, there are rules. They are not allowed to have their cell phones. And they if they are in the voting where the ballots are being processed itself, we do not want them to be talking and disturbing the people who are working. But in the area where they are outside of the actual room where the vote by mail is being processed, they're behind the glass, and so where they do have a seating area, they still can't use their cell phones there, but they certainly can converse amongst themselves.
What you have just described is exactly what I've experienced any time that I've observed this. It's very strict. I've always seen that if there is a challenge to an election or it's a partisan one in particular, I've always seen attorneys on both sides be represented. I just have simply never seen unfairness in that process. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. Clearly, human beings make mistakes. But have you seen a presentation of evidence, or have you heard from the public a lack of trust in this system like we hear asserted today?
No, I haven't.
Okay, neither have I. So I understand some people have concerns, and we need to address those concerns, and I appreciate you listening to them and being willing to address them, really. But I'm struggling to wrap my head around characterizations here that volunteers that work in a county department are treated like animals. I think it's hard to maintain credibility when those are the assertions that you make in front of this board that takes very seriously what we do as a county and as an administration. It's really over the top and unnecessary. So thank you. I do appreciate your concerns. If we do not have an election of integrity, that is a problem in America, and I agree with you. And I appreciate your passion. I simply have not seen the concerns about this system or this elections department that have been asserted by some people in any way, shape, or form that would warrant the kind of extreme reaction that's being asked. So I want to thank you, and I want to move on with this issue. And at this time, I'm going to make a motion on staff's recommendation, or I'll wait till my colleague comes back so we have a full board. But I'm prepared to make that motion at the right time. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Supervisor. Supervisor Couch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to go back to the audit provision in the contract. Do you have the contract handy, by the way?
I don't have the whole contract with me, no.
I assume it's multiple pages long.
Yes.
Does it, I didn't quite catch your answer a moment ago. Does the contract say that you cannot, we, the county, the elections department, whomever, cannot audit the results of the election without their approval?
What it would refer to is the state. Since the state is certifying this equipment, anything having to do with that, as far as getting into the equipment, looking directly at the software of the equipment, anything that might violate the equipment, that would be part of the state certification. We, as a county, we follow the election code. We follow the regulations from the Secretary of State. What I would say is that the 1% manual tally is an audit of the results. That is confirming the by the hand count the result of the tabulation. So anything beyond that, if you get into what exactly it would say there, would really be more of a Secretary of State issue of what they will allow say, any outsiders to do with the equipment. You're very concerned with the security on the equipment.
When you say outsiders, I'm not suggesting that we take the voting machines or the tabulation machines and hand them to somebody who's disgruntled, but there's got to be people or firms that you could hire if you chose to. I'm not telling you you need to go do that. I'm just saying, do you have the ability under this contract to hire an expert or a firm that's considered an expert to audit how the machines are working? Not the 1%. I get that. That's good that we do that. I'm glad that's working. Do you have the ability to do that?
I would say the state would be the one that would determine what kind of, someone looking beyond the 1%, then you're looking at getting into the insides, how it works. That is something that would be just determined by the state.
When we hear the term forensic audit, is that what that means? Was that what somebody's looking to do, something like that? Or do you know?
I'm not sure if that's what they were referring to, and again, there really is no such thing as a forensic audit as such. So, and by the way, the forensic audit that was conducted in Maricopa County did confirm ultimately the results of the tabulation. So it did not find.
Okay, you threw me.
But that was not.
I thought you just said there's no such thing as a forensic audit.
What was popularly called a forensic audit in Maricopa County. But no, that's not a true audit. As an auditor, I would not say what was going on in Maricopa County was an audit. And the Secretary of State in California, they would not allow that type of thing to come in California. It would be as far as anyone going in and looking at that equipment that way.
So say that again. You don't think the state of California would allow you? Is that what you're saying?
To allow outsiders to come in to look at very close.
Okay, but go back there. I want to make sure I understand the terms you're using. When you say outsiders, I'm not suggesting that anybody walking off the street and do this. I'm suggesting that, do you have the ability in your position with the authority that's vested in your being the auditor controller, county clerk, to hire an expert or a firm that's an expert to do that type of audit on the machines and how they're working?
I would say the Secretary of State has the authority to do that. I do not have the authority to do that.
You don't? Okay. Let's talk about it's a retroactive agreement from when to when? January
1st, just through December 31st. We, again, as I stated, we thought under the terms of the agreement that because it does state that the license and warranty does extend beyond the prepayment period, we thought we could just move to a month or a year-to-year annual license fee. County Council, their opinion was that we needed an actual amendment. And so that's why it's coming retroactively.
So we had a 5-year agreement. Is that right?
We prepaid the license and warranty for 5 years.
For 5 years. So why did we think we had a 6th year that we could automatically renew?
Well, actually, the wording in the original contract actually says the term of this agreement shall begin on the effective date.
That's the contract?
Well, the original contract, yes. I've got this phrase.
I'm sorry, I thought you just.
Well, I've got
parts
of the contract.
You got parts of it,
yeah,
okay.
That it shall continue until December 31st, 2021, providing, however, the licenses or warranties authorized by this agreement may extend beyond the term of this agreement according to the terms and conditions of such license and warranty.
I have no idea what that means.
Well, yes, and so, but based on that, it was saying that the license and warranty could extend beyond the December 31st, 2021 date, which would mean, and the normal terms and conditions would be an annual license fee. So that, to me, that is saying that the annual license fee can then extend beyond that 2021 date. But as I say, County Council advised that we.
Is that something that's typical in that type of a contract? Because I don't. Let me instead of putting you on the spot, let me ask County Council, whomever you would like to have handle this. Is that something that is a matter of law?
Supervisor Couch, through the chair, I'm going to have Chief Deputy Kalsa address that matter.
Yes, Supervisor Couch for the chair. I think your question was, is this typical? It's hard for me to say. I think what County Council recommended after taking a look at this agreement, since there was some ambiguity in that language, to remove any ambiguity in terms of clarity about this agreement and its extension, both with respect to warranties and all other features of the agreement, an amendment was recommended. So rather than proceed on an ambiguous basis, we recommended there be an amendment. That way the entire agreement is carried forward. There is no ambiguity. It's signed by all the parties, and everyone knows where they are at the end of the day.
So did we think, as of January of this year, that we owed them money?
That in order to be able to use the equipment, we have to pay the license and warranties, and we still are using the equipment. It's the only equipment we have. So
And did we already send them the money?
we have not. We're waiting for this amendment.
But the agreement ended in December.
And they sent us an invoice, and we are paying it, but we do need to pay for the license before we can actually use it in the primary.
So did the ambiguity occur when you got the $224,000 invoice?
Well, I do think if you say that there's an ambiguity within the original contract agreement, and as I say, perhaps the prepayment, the 5-year prepayment of the annual license fee was perhaps the issue that caused whatever the ambiguity was in the original contract.
Were you expecting an invoice in January of this year?
We were expecting an invoice. We thought we had the authority to pay
Because
it
you thought it was going to continue on an annual
basis. Yes.
And so when you got the invoice, what prompted the need to extend it for 1 year?
For one reason, because of the dollar amount, we did consult with counsel as far as the best way to pay that. Could we simply go ahead and pay it based on the agreement? It was our understanding we could, but because it was over $200,000, so that it couldn't, say, go through the purchasing agent or anything of that nature. It was because of the dollar amount. And so in looking at exactly how to go about and paying that invoice, we did consult with counsel, and then that's when they advised us to get the amendment.
Supervisor Peter has asked this question. What would happen if we didn't approve this item today? And your answer was we could not, I think you said we could not conduct the election in June.
That's correct.
Hang on, sir. I sat, as did the board, and listened very politely, and I'm trying to listen to your concerns, and I'm trying to ask some questions to ascertain some facts, and I would just appreciate it if you gave me the opportunity to do that. There you go. Why? One answer, one word question. Why could we not conduct an election in June if we didn't approve this?
Because we only have Dominion equipment, and therefore, we need the Dominion equipment in order to be able to conduct the election in June, and in order to, we need to pay them their annual license fee in order to be able to use it.
You don't have time to, it's probably very expensive to buy all new voting machines and all new
Yes, it would be
tabulation equipment.
It would be extremely expensive, and also there just simply is no time.
Are you considering, what would you do if you wanted to buy all new equipment, voting machines and tabulation equipment? What's the process to go through to do that?
Well, we would have to obviously go to your board. I mean, that would be a direction from your board to be able to look, for us to look at other equipment. Right now, this is the equipment we've got. It is the latest equipment, but yes, it would be direction from your board to look at and get, say, costing.
In other words, we have to approve you going out and doing that, looking for it, doing an RFP, RFQ, or what's the process to get you to a point where you could bring forward You want to make a change to the voting machines and tabulation equipment. Here's who we've chosen. How do you get? How
Yes,
do you get
that direction would need to come from your board to even go look at it, because we do have the most current certified equipment on, it is available for use in the state of California. But, so the only reason to go look for any other equipment would be direction from your board.
Is that something you would consider?
Would I?
Is that something that is you're actively considering, or you think might be a good idea, based on everything you've not just heard today, everything you've read?
No, I'm not considering it. The Dominion, there's no fundamental really difference between the Dominion and the other equipment that's certified in California. It's all but run through the same certification process. It is all, it is equally good.
How long will this warranty last, or how long should these machines last since whenever we got them, 2015, 16?
I don't know right off the top of my head. I would expect them to last for several more years at least.
Two more comments I want to make, or questions. I have a good friend who became a poll worker for the first poll volunteer for the first time ever, and this is purely anecdotal. It's one guy that I know. That's it. But he was discouraged, disheartened by his experience as a poll worker. It's not to say he's not going to do it again, but and I'm willing to help you do whatever needs to be done to improve that experience for the people that volunteer. Lastly, one of the things that bothers me about all of this the most is the signature verification. All the laws, many of them just case law, that have gotten us to the point where, in my opinion, mischief can occur based on everything that has been set up for us in the way we have to conduct the elections. That, to me, if people are passing through signature after signature after signature, when the signature on the voter registration is in cursive and the signature is in big, bold capital letters, among other types of discrepancies, that's where I think we have a real weakness. That has nothing to do with Dominion machines. That's the operators and the volunteers and the people that we are using, hiring, that either aren't being trained adequately or just don't really care to do a really good job.
I mean, if I could address that, we actually we are going to be using signature verification software in the primary, so it will run through the software first, so that you will have that objective, and then it will also go to people, so we're not relying just on software.
That software has never been used before.
We have not used it here. It is used other places. We have not used it here.
Well, I know this is expensive, but to Supervisor Perez's point, people need to have confidence in the results of the elections. And I don't know, I don't remember the lady's name that spoke, but I liked what she said. She can lose. She doesn't mind losing, but she doesn't want to lose and not have faith in that the outcome was accurate. And I think that's what every normal voter, regular person wants, and they're not going to be engaged if they don't really have that. If we want to increase voter turnout, I think we have to increase their confidence in the system itself. I don't want to approve this today, but I think someone else spoke that's basically said we don't have much of a choice on whether or not to approve this today. I know you disagree, sir, but from what I've listened to, I don't know how we would get those machines here in time to have that election. I don't know if we, based on our process and the procurement of them and the delivery of them, I don't think it could be done. And I don't want to put the June election in that kind of jeopardy. I'd rather have something that at least we could audit with a 1% audit than nothing. But I am willing to spend the money. I don't know how much it would cost, so I shouldn't say that probably, but I think we need to look at an alternative, because this, and maybe the alternatives aren't any better. I don't have any idea, but that's what we have to rely on you or your successor to help us with that decision. But I'm open to going another direction. I know it's not going to be a hand count. I get that. And I don't know enough to make any accusations. I'm not making any accusation against Dominion. I don't have any evidence to say that the machines don't do what they're supposed to do. I just know enough to know what I've read, and I've read a lot. In fact, I've read an entire book on this subject, and I didn't understand only about half of it because it gets very technical. But it's not that I'm not paying attention to this subject. I am, and I have very sincere doubts that we're doing it as good as we can do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor. Supervisor Maggard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Bedard, could you indulge me to ask you a few questions? Did you say that the state precludes us, does not allow us to use a paper ballot hand-counted system only?
Well, it would be impossible for us to certify the results in time if we were simply hand counting. We've got hundreds of thousands of ballots. We would not be able to certify in time. So if for no other reason, plus, of course, that the state has certified these different pieces, types of equipment for us to use, and we are required to use the certified equipment.
And did you say that it's been 50 years approximately since we began using an automated counting system?
Well, yes. I mean, because prior to the paper ballots and the touchscreens, we had punch cards, and certainly you were running punch cards through automated tabulators.
I've heard an allegation before that Dominion is subject to being manipulated through the internet. Are those machines connected to the internet?
No, they are not.
Is there a time that they are?
No, they may be connected to our internal network, which I think is where some people get that idea but that is not the internet.
So there is no connection to any system outside of what is occurring within your office?
That's correct.
Thank you. What were the results of the 1% count? What was the deviation between the 1% verification count that you do compared to what the actual results were as tabulated by the machine?
From the tabulation results, there was zero. I don't know off the top of my head how much they found in those adjudication type differences, very small, but you generally, that's why when you have a recount or a hand count, there's usually a slight discrepancy because you see those ballots that were not filled out correctly. But there was a zero deviation from tabulation results, simply filling out the bubble being filled in, and how the people looking at it confirmed that with what the machine did.
Can you address one more time, please, the diligence with which signatures are verified and how that system will be improved, if it will be improved going forward?
Yes, so we do train. Our employees receive training that's available generally statewide for signature verification, and then we train temporary workers on what to look for. There is also regulations put out by the Secretary of State, and we actually go through those, which actually details out what you should look for when you are looking at a signature, what types of things, what similarities you're looking for, whether it's the beginning of the word, the end of the word, the slant. It goes into a lot of detail, and we use that in training our temporary workers. So that's what we've done in the past. Then if they identify something that they think possibly could be wrong, they are trained to actually find, look not to try to make the finer distinctions. If they think there's a possibility it doesn't match, they send it on for further review to an actual elections worker who has more training to be able to discern those differences. Now, going forward, we will be having this software, so it will run through the software first. The software will identify what it identifies as potential mismatches, which will again go to these senior elections workers, but then anything that passes through the software and it's okayed, we will still have go through and have the election workers look at those as well to see if they discern anything that possibly the software didn't.
Thank you. I think the question that's before us, there are a number of different aspects of this, but the fundamental question is, should we or should we not use Dominion machines? It's undeniable that many people have concerns about the accuracy of and the credibility of the results. Every way I know to ask, I have asked, and it has been confirmed to me that we have accurate results in Kern County, or results that are within the margin of error, that they meet the level of certification and scrutiny by the state. There are many concerns about the way personnel are treated, about the kind of behind the curtain operation of the auditor's office. And I know people that work in the election system as well. They don't have a single complaint. I mean, there are some people that have complaints. There are some people that have no complaints whatsoever. So bottom line is, to me, the question for us as we are asked to approve this contract is, am I confident that that this automated system will give us accurate results in Kern County? I have no evidence that it will not. So I don't know how I can, especially in light of the fact that if we do not approve this, we have a very, very significant issue with the way our ability to conduct the upcoming election. Now, there are differences of opinion about, and you can certainly decide, people could have decided before to run against Ms. Bedard. Believe me, I've had lots of people run against me over the years, and that is everyone's right to do so. And would I do things exactly the way Ms. Bedard does them? No. But I can absolutely assure you of this. I don't have the slightest concern about the integrity of Mary Bedard. She is not part of a cabal, of a conspiracy, an effort to undo things. I know this person well. I have worked with her in many, many different aspects of her job, and not once have I been concerned about her integrity. So thank you, Ms. Bedard, for your questions. I'm sorry that a confluence of events has caused people to not trust the system. And I agree with you that a mistrust of the system suppresses the vote. And there are aspects of the voting process, particularly with regard to ballot harvesting, for example, that I absolutely do not like, that I don't agree with. But nonetheless, do I think that Dominion will allow us to have an accurate election in June? I believe it will.
Thanks, Supervisor. Any other questions or comments from the board? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion.
Zach, Chairman, I had previously made a motion, but I want to thank Supervisor Maggard for his comments. I don't need to add to that. I think he stated it perfectly. So thank you, Mike. And I'll restate my motion to move on this contract. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
You wonder why people distrust their government.
Let's. I'll second the motion. Let's vote on this.
We have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. All ayes.
Thank you. That takes us to the conclusion of our agenda for open session. We do have 3 items listed in closed session. However, item 46 has been withdrawn. Correct, Council? Item 45 under the County Administrative Office, and item 47 under County Council that we will consider in closed session. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
We are adjourned.
In the 1970s, Armstrong developed digital